Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. Today we are going to discuss what is absolute value equation and general methods to solve absolute value equation. So what is an absolute value equation? So before that we need to go for the definition. An absolute value equation is an equation that contains an absolute value expression. See, absolute value means the distance from 0 on the number line. See, this is a symbol of absolute value. See, this is symbol. So whatever the variables values we are having inside this symbol, for example x minus x, say negative x, the answer will be always positive. For example, if you go for an expression, see x x plus y, the all negative, we can say x plus y, answer is x plus y. It's very easy to understand. So minus 1 inside the absolute value goes to 1. So minus 2 inside the absolute value, it goes to 2. If 1 in the absolute value, the same, positive 1. If 2 is in the absolute value, the answer will be 2. So the easy to understand, you need to think in a distance definition. An absolute value means a distance from 0 on the number line. Let's see this number line here. We are having first a minus 1. Minus 1 is here. See, minus 1 is here. So what's the distance between a 0 to minus 1? So how many distance we travel from 0 to minus 1? So this is the distance we travel. Okay, what about the 1 here? See, here the 1. So what's the distance we travel from 0 to 1 here? Both are same, right? So we travel from here, this distance and this distance are equal. So that's the main point of absolute value. So the distance traveled is 1. Here also 1. That's we call minus. Absolute value of minus 1 is 1. Absolute value is 1 is 1 because the distance traveled is both are same left, but the direction is different. Leave the direction is different on the negative side and the positive side, but the distance travel, the time taken or distance travel is same. That's the real meaning of an absolute value. If you go for the minus 6 here, the plus 6 here, the distance from 0 is same. See, this minus 6 and we travel from here to the positive 6. The distance travel is 6. That's we call as absolute value. So absolute value of minus 6, absolute value of 6, both are 6. Why? Because the distance travel on the same distance, the distance travel is same, but the direction is different, but the distance traveled is same. Okay. So the next section is the general methods to solve absolute value equation. So this is, for example, this is an absolute value equation we got. The first and foremost step is to isolate absolute value. So make sure the absolute value part is alone on one side. So make this absolute part on the left side. So remove, to shift this 7 to the right side. So the equation will be 2x minus 3 inside the absolute value code and on the left hand side is equal to 7. So next step is split into two equations. Remove the absolute value by writing two cases. See, I already discussed inside the absolute value code might be negative or positive, but the answer always be positive. So we can remove this absolute value by splitting the equations into two cases. So the equation will be like this: 2x minus 3 is equal to 7 and 2x minus 3 is equal to minus 7. Why this happen means, when we look into number line, this 2x minus 3, okay, might be the distance from a negative minus 7 or in the positive 7. So we need to take the both cases because the value, the equation inside the absolute value, it's a completely unknown because the value of the x we don't know, may be negative or positive. So that's why we take the both cases. After finding the value of x, we need to substitute back to the normal equation and we can to find which is the correct one. So now solve each equation. 2x minus 3 is equal to 7. So 2x is equal to 7 plus 3. So x is equal to here 10 by 2 is equal to 5. So the first case x value is 5. The second case 2x minus 3 is equal to minus 7. 2x is equal to minus 7 plus 3 is equal to x is equal to minus 7 plus 3 is minus 4 by 2 is equal to minus 2. So second case is minus 2. Okay, so we have x values, x is equal to 5 and x is equal to minus 2. So we got two values here. So now what we're going to do is we need to check which of this answer is correct. So we will just substitute both x values in our original equation. Okay, so the original equation is, this is the original equation, right? Okay, so we substitute x into this. So inside absolute value, 2 times 5 minus 3 is equal to 7. So 2 into 5 is 10. Inside absolute value, 10 minus 3 is equal to 7. Yes, inside absolute value, 7 is equal to 7. Yes, correct. So the inside the absolute value is positive 7 is equal to 7. So this value we got correct. So the second one, we are substitute this x is minus 2 in the original equation. So we are substituting x is equal to minus 2. So 2 times minus 2 minus 3. This is multiplication is equal to 7. So what will be answer? 2 times minus 2 is equal to minus 4. So minus 4 minus 3 is equal to 7. So minus 4 minus 3 is equal to, we can put plus minus here. Minus here. So is equal to minus 4 plus minus 3 is equal to 7. So minus 4 minus 3 is equal to minus 7. So minus 7 is equal to 7. Yes, both are same. Both are correct. So this absolute value equation, so the actual equation is absolute value 2x minus 3 minus 7 is equal to 0. This absolute value equation has two values, x is equal to 5 and x is equal to minus 2. Both are correct answers. So this is how we solve absolute value equation. Okay, so there's an important tip before solving an absolute value equation. See, if an equation comes like this, so instead absolute value, x plus 2 is equal to minus 3. As per the absolute value definition says, whatever the value inside absolute value, it considers the distance from 0. So the distance from 0 cannot be negative. So this absolute value equation is have no sense, because inside absolute value the answer is negative. So whenever having an absolute value equation comes like this, negative as answer, we can directly say there is no solution for this equation. So whenever you are having an equation like this, it comes like this, we can directly say there is no solution for this equation, because absolute value cannot be negative. So the absolute value of a equation or a value cannot be negative, because we as per the definition says, the absolute value consider distance from the 0 to that value. So distance cannot be 0. So we can have an answer like this, there is no solution for this equation. So no need to do any further calculation or computation. You can directly say this equation has no solution. Okay, this is a solved example. I will explain this. So this is our equation. This is the first example equation. So x minus 2 is in the absolute value. The right hand side is 3x plus 1. So here no need to isolate, because this equation actually is in the isolated form. So this absolute value is on the left hand and other parts on the right hand side. So the next step is, the first step we need to do is split and solve separately. So I already explained, split equation means opening the absolute value symbol. So opening the absolute value symbol means we need to consider on the both sign, both equation, so the negative and positive. So first one is x minus 2. We open the equation here, open the absolute value here. So the right side will be positive, 3x plus 1 positive. And the other one is x minus 2 here, when opening the absolute value symbol, the right hand side will be negative. So negative 3x plus 1 on the right hand side. So this both cases we will solve and find the values of x. So here x minus 3x. So we are just making the 3x into the left hand side. So x minus 3x 1 plus 1. So the minus 2x is equal to 3. The x is equal to minus 3 by 2. So the first x value is minus 3 by 2. So the right hand side, the other option is x minus 2 is equal to minus 3 minus x. So while computing, we will have an x value is equal to 1 by 4. So this is the two values of x. Okay, minus 1 by 4 and minus 3 by 2. Now we need to check. So we having two values, always keep in mind we need to check the both answer is correct or not. Okay, while checking, this is the actual equation. Absolute value x minus 2 is equal to 3x plus 1. So we are substituting x is equal to minus 3 by 2 in the original equation. So minus 3 by 2 minus 2 is equal to 3 into minus 3 by 2 plus 1. So the while computing, we'll have an equation like this. So inside the absolute value on the left hand side, minus 7 by 2 is equal to on the right hand side minus 7 by 2. See, what you can see here, the absolute value of a value is equal to the negative. So there is no sense for this, so we cannot accept this one. So we can say this value is not correct. So we need to consider this value is not correct. Okay, we go for the right side, the other option, other value of x is equal to 1 by 4. So the absolute value 1 by 4 minus 2 is equal to 3 into minus 1 by 4 plus 1. So while computing, we'll have an answer on the left hand side is equal to minus 7 by 4 is equal to 7 by 4. Yes, correct. 7 by 4 is equal to 7 by 4. So this answer is correct. So we consider this as the correct value. So this absolute value equation has only one solution. What is the one solution? That is x is equal to 1 by 4. This is the only correct answer you need to consider. So this one you need to you should not consider this one. Okay, so what we learn from this equation is you need to discard, you need to avoid, you need to eliminate. See, you need to discard the results make absolute value negative. This is the conclusion. So when we have a value which makes the absolute value in the negative, so we need to discard, we need to eliminate. So we eliminated this value, only we considered x is equal to 1 by 4 as the only one solution for this absolute value equation. Here 5 times absolute value 4p minus 3 plus 16 is equal to 1. This is an absolute value equation. Okay, so we are going to solve this one. So while solve, step number 1, what is isolate? 4p minus 3 should be on the left hand side. So the right side we can shift this 50. So 1 minus 16. Okay, 1 minus 16 divided by, we can make this 5 on the denominator. So 5. So 1 minus 16 minus 5 is equal to, what's the right hand side which will be 1 minus 16? Of course it's a minus 15 by 5. Minus 15 by 5 is equal to minus 3. So what is this equation tells us? See, absolute value of 4p minus 3 is equal to minus 3. Wow, what is this? Because this equation doesn't make sense, because the left hand side is a absolute value symbol, the expression inside absolute value symbol, but the right hand side, see, minus 3. You can stop doing further calculation or further computation, because this equation itself saying there is no solution, no solution for this equation. So stop doing and we can conclude there is no solution. Okay, let's summarize. So these are the 4 steps we need to consider while solving an absolute value equation. So first step is isolate absolute value equation. Okay, so you already know, for make the absolute value part on the one side. Then split the two equations. How we split? Open the absolute value symbol and consider the both cases, positive case and negative case, and solve both cases and find the value of unknown value. Then substitute back and check the each result is correct or not by substituting back to the original equation, and we need to verify the result. Discard if the result makes absolute value negative. See, one more condition we need to consider. So while substituting, if the left hand side, if absolute value makes a value and which is not equal to the right hand side. So while substituting x back to the equation, we're having an equation like this. So left hand side absolute value of 5 is equal to 4. Is correct? No, it is not correct. In this case also, you need to eliminate this value. We need to discard this value also. Okay, so two cases we need to discard. One is the absolute value goes negative. So this case also we need to discard the value. Another case, the left hand side which is not equal to the right hand side. This case also you need to eliminate we need to discard the result. Okay, so the final point is an absolute value equation sometimes has two solutions or one solution or no solution. So we already have the 3 examples here. We already seen the first example with the 2 solution, absolute value is 2 solution. So in the second example we see there's a 1 solution example also we have seen. Then no solution, whenever we have while we computing an equation, or when we have an equation which the right hand side the absolute value makes negative, we can conclude and say there is no solution. Okay, this three type of example already we have seen. So I hope everyone understood.